Could you tell us about the Retaliators and your character in the film?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Retaliators, I think, at heart it's a horror, but also a thriller, and I think it sits on the highbrow side of horror. I think it's driven by story. I think it really has a crazy third act. I think it sort of starts in a Dante-esque Spielbergian sort of way and ends up, I mean, these are big words, but ends up, at least the goal or the thought in mind was a sort of a Tarantino-esque crazy third act. But I think what I love most about the script when I read it is that it's really a story, and deserves some really great acting, and it has a plot of morality, religion, and justice at its core.
Your character's life is turned upside down after one of his daughters is murdered. We see the impact that has on him throughout the film. How did you prepare to tackle that journey?
Well, I think what's important if you're going to play this part is I'm fortunate enough to have a beautiful 5-year-old boy, so of course I was able to use that. And I think, the revenge topic, it's as old as Shakespeare and love, and there's been so many films made on it. But I think that what you need to do is use some sort of use your imagination. And I think we all, maybe as kids, had that. What if someone did something to your mom and dad, right, or your sister or your brother, and in this case, my son or my daughter. So it was very that revenge topic again. It was easy for me to tap into because I have a son.
This is a deeply personal story to Darren and Jeff, and you were their top choice to play John. Did that bring a different weight/pressure to this project?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to try to answer this question in a short manner for you, but here's what I have to tell you. I admire your research. You must have either written on it before, seen it, but the story behind this and the motivation for both the Gear brothers to write this story, because something horrific happened to their little sister. And even though the story is not based on that, it's of course what they went through and what their family went through in trial, and this was sort of a form of therapy. But what I wanted to tell you, what's even crazier is I was on a show called Rescue Me for a long time. It's about New York City firefighters, and their little sister, who's now 30 something years old, it just became she was also a firefighter. So to add to this, part of her relief of dealing with what she had to deal with was watching my TV show during
Cool.
during the trial and stuff. So, and now she recently just became a captain, by the way. She's like one of the only female captains. So how serendipitous, right? She loved the television show Rescue Me, which I was on, and she also, unless she was just flattering me, loved my character because it was pretty funny on there. So she got a lot of laughs in her firehouse from it. And now I'm playing the lead of the film, about her topic and that her brothers wrote. So it's really crazy. And I got to tell you, I connected to the script so much in the character. There's always pressure, but I felt really grounded in the work and the story, and the writing was so good.
Yeah, great answer. And there's so much physicality with this role. What was more challenging for you, that aspect or diving into the psyche of your character?
Um, I think they were both equally had their challenges. To play a pastor and do some sort of work besides him just being a human being, do the work on the aspect of doing a sermon and going to see modern day sermons and stuff. But then the physical stuff was very demanding in this, actually, very demanding. And I did mostly everything myself. I told my stunt double that I was going to take credit for it all, but I'll give him some credit because they were the stunt team, Norman Douglas, unbelievable, these guys. But we shot all this stuff in the woods outside. We shot at night for like 8 nights in a row. So we'd go into the woods at like 6 p.m. and shoot till 6 in the morning in November. It was 19 degrees. And my character has a t-shirt on all the time. So it was challenging. And you know what else was crazy? Like you'd be freezing and then stretch a little bit and go out and start fighting with these subhumans. The worst part was the fake blood was like it was made out of so it would be all over me. And when it would get stuck on my neck and I'd have to like, dude, it was so uncomfortable, dude, in my shirt and stuff. So all that was pretty bad. Good. Listen, man, good problems to have, right? I'm not complaining. I'm doing what I love to do, but it was cold and the fake blood was a little sticky.
Yeah, there's so many intense moments within the film. How did you decompress after a day of filming?
Well, what would happen is I'm also a producer on this film.
Yeah.
So there wasn't, to be honest with you, any really decompression. There really wasn't, man. There was so much to do, and I think I was able to use that. The character from the beginning, I think I put like a lot of under eye makeup on and then took it off and just let it roll because I didn't sleep. I really didn't. So it worked for the character. And we tried to shoot in sequence as well. So it worked really well. And I allowed all the stress from doing the film during COVID and then coming back to the hotel and then having to take an hour-long shower to get that off, and then dealing with all the problems because there's always, we have a 60-person crew in COVID. So I actually didn't sleep, but used it for the character. It helped.
That's actually the next question that I have for you. But not only are you starring in the film, you're also a producer. At what point in the process did you realize you were going to wear multiple hats? How challenging was that? And what did you learn from this experience that you'll apply to future projects?
Listen, I think I knew from the very beginning. I can't talk about this film without mentioning this guy. Alan Kovac is his name, and he's the founder of a company called Better Noise Films, or Better Noise Music, and now Better Noise Films. Which I'm proud to say he's made me head of production of. We have a great relationship, and that's how all these amazing musicians ended up in the film through Alan. But what I wanted to say was when I brought him the script, he believed in it and he had a vision for it. So I knew that I was going to be a producer, but I didn't know how difficult it was going to be, and especially during COVID, months and months and months of prep and bringing everyone together, and then filming in COVID through, with SAG and all their concerns and being shut down at points just because there were rumors that someone was exposed to COVID, and the costs and the tests and also mostly the number one thing is to protect the film. And I've been so pleased with some of the way the film's being received because there are actually things that I read that affected me when I read the script. So it seems like we're getting them across. But it was extremely challenging dealing with everything, just so much, and being the guardian of the film. So I think I learned, just an incredible amount. And I don't know, either it's always going to be challenging, but if it would be this challenging, perhaps when we're not living in a COVID world in the future. But it was just an incredible experience just to not only be in front of the camera, but behind the camera.
You've done it all throughout your career, and this is one of your biggest horror projects to date. Is there a scene in the film that you're really excited for your fans to see?
Wow, it's a good question. There's a lot, actually. I think I was able to, I've been in films, and I was fortunate enough to learn so much from Clive Owen and Morgan Freeman in a film that I shot with them. But, being the lead in this picture and being able to go through, I think the character does it all in here. There's so many dramatic scenes and there's so many action sequences. I think I can say almost any scene. I'm really proud of the work in this. It's really special for me. And I don't think I've ever found myself talking about a project as much. And I think it's, again, just making it all happen and seeing, from the day one of discovering the script. So I'm really proud of the whole picture, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, the film's made its way around the festival circuit. It's been incredibly well received. What do you think is resonating most with audiences, and what do you hope they take away?
Well, I think the bottom line, what's resonating is, again, at the end of the day, it's a popcorn, fun, crowd-pleasing ride, right? I think it sits on the highbrow of horror. I think it has highbrow side of horror. I think it has a lot of incredible elements, and I think it also has that throwback wink at the 80s. I think people are really getting that and enjoying it, and I think like the music and the soundtrack, and I think it's a crazy journey, man.
Yeah.
I think people are just enjoying the ride.
And then final question for you. Besides this film, where can fans see you next?
So right now, I actually have a few films in development with Alan. We have multiple projects. So we are sort of teeing up and going into production hopefully soon. But some really great, some great scripts, and we have two that are sort of neck and neck of which one to go into production with next.